hello and welcome in.
Please do not leave your luggage unattended on the station.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, Nuggets fans, I can't wait to bring you Michael Malone's post-game comments as I'm keeping track of these here. We got you rolling with your off-court post-game show, a certified beatdown. Your Denver Nuggets just get their you-know-what handed to them, 145 points. The Knicks came into town off a tough loss to the Jazz, who they will see on Wednesday. The Nuggets will. A tough loss to the Jazz. And so your Nuggets come to town, and they end up down. Nuggets come after a big win against the Lakers, and your Nuggets lay a complete egg, a total just beat down from start to finish. They were down 11 after one, and it just got worse. The closest they got, I think, was 17, and the Knicks were moving the ball better than the Nuggets. They were shooting the ball better than the Nuggets. They shot it 60% from the field, 52% behind the line. The Nuggets 11 of 33, just 33% behind the line. It just wasn't good at all anywhere. I'm coming to you from Vail. I came up for a few days. We're going to be up here for the holiday, and there's a big snowstorm coming. So instead of being at Ball Arena, I decided to watch the game up here and then talk with you, thinking, checking on a little Monday Night Football, see what's going on with my fantasy teams, the Harbaugh brothers, and keep an eye on the Nuggets and Knicks, and watch that whole game, which I did. And it was hard to watch. No Aaron Gordon yet again, but that wasn't the problem. Joker, 22 points, 7 and 7. Not great, but nobody was great. You get 18 from MPJ. He made a couple buckets to kind of keep it close at the start of the second quarter, but it just wasn't ever going to come together. It felt for the Nuggets, who just got outplayed from start to finish. The Knicks are a good team, and so Liv and I talk a lot about whether when you lose a game, what will the bounce back look like, and what will this cost you down the road? Losing to the Knicks in the Garden versus losing at home are two different things, and they lost to them at home, and that's the home court just isn't what it was. And again, I can't wait to hear what Malone says, because we know that he doesn't love it when his team comes out flat and shows no effort or just gets run out of a gym. It's one thing to lose a close game, lose a game like they lost in Minnesota, lose a game like they lost to the Thunder, even the Clippers, those early games in the year. To lose Friday night was a tough one, but to lose and the Mavs were good without Luka. But to lose now back-to-back games at home, even with the win at the Lakers in the middle, it's just something that I know has to be killing Coach Malone, who didn't talk very long tonight either. He'll normally go 6, 7, 8 minutes. He was less than 4 minutes, and I know that he was in there fast. I imagine that they're going to want to get this taste out of their mouth as quickly as possible. They're going to go to Utah on Wednesday, then have a couple of days off, and then to the Clippers Sunday. So I presume they'll be home for Thanksgiving and then back out to SoCal, if I'm not mistaken. And it's kind of look in the mirror, soul searching time with these couple losses, especially with a loss like this. I think it's one thing if it happens in the playoffs, the way it did with the Timberwolves in Game 6, and they just kind of laugh that one off. But when they come into your building, when a team comes into your building, as the Knicks did now with Karl Anthony Towns, who's certainly a player that they're familiar with, but when a player comes into the building or a team comes into your building and plays like that, it's just it's just tough. It's a tough pill to swallow. So I want to hear from Coach right now, and then we'll get everyone's reaction. If you want to jump in on the chat, we'd be happy to have you here and read some of your comments, because this is probably one you just want to move on from as quickly as possible. But nonetheless, here is Michael Malone postgame.
Oh, fuck that, man. No, we're not flushing. You don't flush when you get embarrassed. You don't flush when you gave up 145 points. You don't flush when you didn't play hard, didn't play with effort, didn't play with physicality. I'm not flushing anything.
Do you look to your leaders in that situation, the leaders on the court?
Well, yeah, I mean, like Russell Westbrook, I mean, he's vocal. I mean, but we need more than Russell Westbrook. I need Nikola Jokic. I need Jamal Murray. I need guys that have been here in that starting lineup to be vocal. And, tonight we got embarrassed. I mean, what just happened is, and let's be honest, it happened tonight for 4 quarters. It happened in the first half against Dallas. So we're 16 games in and we're talking about effort. We're talking about toughness. We're talking about physicality. Game 1 in Memphis. I mean, this is, and regardless of who's in, who's out, who do we want to be as a team? I mean, so yeah, leadership would be great. Toughness would be great. Physicality would be great. Playing like you actually care would be great. And we didn't do that tonight. Give them credit. They're coming off of a bad loss in Utah, and they played like it. They played urgent, physical, desperate, motivated basketball. And we played like we won a game in L.A. and like we could just show up tonight. And when you think you can do that against a good team like that, that's what's going to happen.
As a head coach, do you rip into them? Do you let them just do it? How do you handle a game like this?
We talk about it.
When transition defense kind of continued to be a problem for you guys, especially in the first half, 17-2 on fast break points, how much of that is just effort in getting back for you guys? I think there were only 5 turnovers.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a common theme. I mean, we're a great transition offensive team. Weren't tonight. They tripled us in transition points. But we never run back. We're a one-way running team, and it's been that way all season long. So, yes, getting back in transition, you can have all the rules you want in transition, but if you don't sprint back, none of those rules matter. And, we come out of the halftime break, their first 8 points were layups. I mean, so we're just fooling ourselves. Yes, they're a good team, but if that's the effort we're going to give forth, we want to be close to being a playoff team.
Besides effort and energy, what would you have done to make things easier on yourself offensively tonight?
I felt in that first half as we got down, guys started forcing things. We didn't execute tonight. We played a lot of random basketball. Guys trying to make plays, like to get us back in the game, but that led to poor possessions, which led to runouts for them. So, yeah, aside from the turnovers and making shots, I just felt our execution and our purpose could have been a lot better.
How do you address effort?
We're going to talk about it. We're going to watch it.
One more question.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Coach.
Short and sweet, I guess. Anything but sweet. Wow. Michael Malone, not mincing words, has no problem dropping an F-bomb off the top. Hey, he'll tell you he's from New York. He's going to speak his mind. And they are not flushing this game. He was adamant. This is not one that you flush and move on from. This is one that is going to sit for a while. And with the way their schedule's gone, you would have thought that maybe tomorrow they'd be off. I can guarantee you there will be a Nuggets practice tomorrow before they get on a plane to Utah. He's going to impose his will on this team, if you will. He's going to make sure that his message is heard. Because when you start questioning guys' effort, and you're essentially, I mean, he's called his team soft in the past. Other than Russell Westbrook, he said he needs Nikola Jokic. He needs Jamal Murray. They desperately need Aaron Gordon. This team needs Aaron Gordon back. DeAndre Jordan getting some playing time's all well and good to show that he can still play a little bit. But in general, it's not enough to have DeAndre's leadership from the bench and that be it. Dario Saric, yeah, he's a vet, but he's not going to have these guys' ear. It has to come from your best players, from your starters. It has to come from Aaron Gordon. It has to come from Nikola Jokic first. He sets the tone. It's got to come from Jamal Murray. And we know that for all of Jamal's shortcomings, the team does listen to him. And then we know what Russell Westbrook is and what he isn't, but he's also brand new. Yes, Russell Westbrook has, as John Fox used to say, skins on the wall. He's a former league MVP. He's been a 9-time All-Star. He's going to the Hall of Fame. But you can't have the new guy come in at this point in his career. It's not like when Peyton Manning came to the Broncos, or Chauncey Billups, or even Allen Iverson came to the Nuggets at that point of their career. Russ can still give you plenty, but he can't be your loudest leader all the time. And so when you hear Malone talk about just their effort, sprinting back, coming out of the break where you're down big at the half, down, I think it was 18 at the half, and you give up 4 layups. Their first buckets are 8 layups. That's just not going to get it done. And so this is a gut check, look in the mirror time for the Nuggets, because if you pull up the standings, and I just did just to check where things are, I started to allude to it a little earlier. Every game is going to matter for playoff seeding. You heard Michael Malone say, hey, we're not even thinking about being a playoff team if we're going to give this effort. We're not even going to, I'm paraphrasing, but he said, we will not be a playoff team with this level of effort. And you look down, and your Denver Nuggets, as it stands right now today, are 9-7. They are tied with the Suns, who somehow have a tiebreaker. Suns are listed above them, but both 9-7. The Suns have been great with KD, and I believe KD was back tonight. Without KD, they were 8-1 with KD and 1-6 without KD. So they've definitely missed Kevin Durant. But regardless, that's just battling. You got the Mavs, your Western Conference defending champs, who just beat you Friday without their best player when your best player came back. You got the Spurs right behind you at 9-10. You got the T-Wolves, who knocked you out of the playoffs. You got the Kings, who are a playoff team. So let's not even get into the Grizzlies, the Rockets, who are the number 3 seed. The Clippers are all ahead of you. It is going to be a dogfight every game of this entire season. And if you take a night off, even against a good team, and the Knicks, when healthy, are a good team, they will push the Celtics in the East. They might be the second best team in the East, with apologies to the Cavs. Magic are coming up too. Both the Magic and Cavs are young. Knicks a little more mature. They add Karl Anthony Towns, and so they're 10-7. But you cannot repeat efforts like this if you want any chance of competing for a top playoff spot, because you'll get left in dead in your tracks. You'll be stuck in the mud and not even in the playoff race, let alone jockeying for playoff positioning. And so I would be extremely, extremely nervous if I'm a Nuggets fan tonight. If you think that this is going to be something we see with some regularity, if you think this is going to be, or this is who the Nuggets are, you give 40 points to OG Anunoby. I know OG is a really good player. He's not a perennial all-star. He was banged up. He doesn't really have a position, or he has, he can play a bunch of positions. But you let OG Anunoby get 40. Your best player only gets you 22. And then you also give up 30 to Karl Anthony Towns, who was 12 of 15, made both of his threes as well. The Nuggets did do an okay job getting to the line. They got the line 27 times to the Knicks 16, but the Knicks didn't need to get to the line. They were just getting layups without getting fouled. And so to that end, it's going to be look in the mirror. And is this the team that we are this year? And I don't think it is. So I don't want to just assume that this is going to be who the Nuggets are going forward. It's just, if you think that this is who the Nuggets are, then this is going to be a long year. And they are going to let another year of Joker playing at an MVP level. And we'll see if he wins a 4th MVP, but they're not going to be anywhere near good enough if this keeps up. And so I understand they're not going to flush this. And so Mr. Exquisite Nugget says, who knows how well they'll respond, or how we'll respond. You might have missed the apostrophe there. It's a great question, because they go to an upstart Jazz team, but a Jazz team that is young. They have Walker Kessler back now, healthy, but they don't have any superstars on that team. And I guess Markkanen, we'll see how long he stays as a Jazz. But in general, it's one of those things where you look at it and you say, we have to look in the mirror, look at each other, play for each other, but bounce back and get this bad taste out of your mouth. You don't want to go to Thanksgiving dinner with the Nuggets dropping 3 of your last 4, including what would now be a loss to a lesser team in the Jazz. I was going through the standings just a minute ago, and when you look at where the Jazz are, they are just a 4-win team. They were winless when they came in here, and the Nuggets let them get a little close, maybe a little too close for comfort. Second unit let them get in, or let them get, I think close to maybe it was 7, but it wasn't much of a game in the second half, if memory serves me right, being at that game. But you have to now go to Utah Wednesday and from the jump, just run them out of the gym. Thought we might have gotten Aaron Gordon back at this point. They thought he might have played as early as Friday or Saturday in LA or today. And you want to err on the side of caution with soft tissue injuries, with a calf strain. And as somebody, and I get that I'm not an NBA player, but I've dealt with calf strains for pretty much since I turned 30, and I'm 46 now. So even when I go skiing up here in Vail, I'll wear a calf sleeve because my calf strain is kind of permanent. But my point is, if you're Aaron Gordon, you have to err on the side of caution this early in the year. But they could use his toughness because Aaron Gordon's one player that isn't going to get pushed around from the jump. And the Knicks, they did. They were the more physical team. If you were watching the game on TV and you heard Scott Hastings, he was right. They were more physical from the get-go. You also got 23 from Jalen Brunson, who is a tough player. Yeah, he grew up the son of an NBA player, but he is a tough cover at point guard. He's nonstop. He can shoot the ball. He's not to the Russell Westbrook level of, I guess, nonstop attack. But if there's a crease, he'll go get it. And he certainly has lived up to the contract that the Knicks gave him. They doubled what the Mavs offered him. He started his career there, coming off that championship at Villanova, and the Mavs weren't really sure what to do with him. Well, the Knicks offer him twice as much money, put his dad on the staff, Rick Brunson, who I'm sure Nuggets fans remember. And Jalen Brunson is a certified all-star, but he's your third leading scorer tonight. But you had 3 Knicks outscore any Nuggets players. They're 23. I'm sorry, Russ had 27 off the bench. I don't want to shortchange Russ on 9 of 16 and 4 of 7 from 3. So it was tough to watch. And so we heard Michael Malone's very frustrated post-game comments. Now let's hear from Jamal Murray and what he had to say when he met the media.
Get away from you guys the way that it did?
I mean, that team is coming off a loss, I think, right? And that's what happens. You come back ready to go. Whole team came. I'm talking about them. They came focused. They came prepared. They shot the lights out, and yeah, they played hard in this. Man, I think it's not X's and O's. It wasn't miss or make. I just think that they played harder, and we didn't bring the energy that we need to bring, especially at home. So that's what happens. And I'm glad it happened this early, and not later in the season. That's the way it goes sometimes, so.
You've been through a lot of seasons. You've been through a lot of ups and downs. Games like this sometimes do happen. How do teams respond in these moments?
Exactly how you would think. Like I said, they just lost. They come back and they win considerably. And that's the same thing that we're going to do next game wherever we go.
Do you find that losses like this require a closer look in film or whatever it may be? Or
It's energy, it's effort, it's discipline, it's how much you want it, it's how much you care. And we didn't have that tonight.
Is that a problem stomach, or is it just kind of it happens tonight?
I just think it's a long season. Guys have lives outside of basketball. We just beat LA in LA. Got some guys that are live in LA, so stayed in LA. And like I said, I don't think the focus was there from everybody. And that's what happens when you don't have the focus. Like I said, it's not on coach. It's not on what plays are running. It's not on anybody else but the guys that are out there on the court. So, like I said, it's tough. It's a tough one to go back and watch or even accept. But it was expected. If that's the kind of energy that the whole team is going to bring to start the game and continuously, not have a response, then That's what happens. So if we've been on the other side of it, I've been on the other side of it, and tonight I was on the wrong. We were on the wrong end of it.
What's the onus that you guys put on yourselves to not let one loss like this turn?
It's all individual. It's all individual. You know, I think if everybody picks up their energy and effort, we're good. Or at least it's a game, or it's more an acceptable loss type of thing. But like we got punched in the face and there was no response. So that's what I'm trying to say. It's not like, okay, I could have done this or done that. No, we just play harder, take some pride in being down by 30 while the other team is chanting the Knicks in your home building. So I think as simple as that. Don't have to overthink it. Don't have to overprocess it. They whooped our ass and we deserved it.
They ran a bunch off of your misses, especially in the first half.
Yeah, we expected that, and we didn't adjust. So.
Individually, it looked like you were moving pretty well up there. Just has anything changed for you? Anything clicked for you over the last couple of games?
Why you say that? Why you say that?
I thought you were getting to the rim really well.
No, I mean compared to last games.
I thought you were tentative in previous games, and I thought you were more definitive tonight.
That's it?
That would be my
Okay. No, nothing different, nothing changing. I mean, we lost by 30, so it's not on. If I make a couple of shots, ooh, nice, cool. Nikola makes a couple of shots, ooh, great, bro. We're down 35, bro. It does not matter how I look, how anybody looks. It's about everybody else on the team.
Okay. So Jamal Murray gave us, hey, guys have lives outside of basketball. Some dude stayed in LA. That feels like a little, I don't want to call it finger pointing. That's not really the right phrase. It feels like Jamal saying, hey, I'm not the only person that goes and does stuff after a game. Basically saying, I can fly to New York for a UFC fight. Y'all give me a hard time. Well, other dudes stayed in LA, insinuating that maybe he didn't stay in LA, because if not, he probably would have said some of us stayed in LA. He said some guys live in LA. I don't think Jamal spends his offseason in LA, if I'm not mistaken, at least not much of it. I know he goes back to Canada, and I'm not sure where else he is, but I don't believe he's part of the LA crew. I think Michael Porter might be. I think Aaron Gordon may have a place out there. But, and obviously Russell Westbrook's from there. DeAndre Jordan played there for a long time. And so it's just funny when he's saying, yeah, guys have lives outside of basketball and the focus wasn't there. Well, it's his job and Nikola Jokic's job to get the team focused, to come out from the jump. The Knicks are coming off a tough loss. You're coming off a good win. Same amount of rest. Yeah, your flight was an hour longer because you were in LA and they were in Utah. But you have to come out and you have to know that they're going to bring it. It's the New York Knicks. It's Jalen Brunson. It's Tom Thibodeau. They're going to play tough D. And look, they gave up 118 points. Most nights the Nuggets score 118 points, they're going to win. They're not going to lose 145 to 118. And so then I don't have a problem with the way Jamal addressed the question at the end about how he played in his game and all that. He's like, look, if I make a couple more shots or Joker makes a couple more shots, it's not going to change anything. It's about everybody. Saying that I couldn't have done enough and that Joker couldn't have done enough, that the whole team got outplayed, and he's right. But it kind of goes back to the leadership questions, and other leaders, and it'll be interesting to hear from Joker, but other leaders will tell you, yeah, I need to do more. And so Jamal says, oh, I couldn't have done much more, which is probably true at that point. But throughout the game and from the jump, you have to set the tone. So when they get to Utah Wednesday, you have to look and see what these guys bring from the jump. So PC says, if I was coach, I'd say you fools are making millions to play a kids game. Average people pay big bucks to support your ass. How about you show up and perform? It is that simple. And that's what frustrates Michael Malone, is the effort. Again, if you lose a close game, you lose even the way you lost to the Mavs. You beat the Mavs in a close game the first time Dallas was here. You lose to OKC, then you beat them. You'll take that. When you get embarrassed, when you get run out of your own gym, when they have 45 assists, the most they've had in franchise history, matching a mark from 45 years ago in 1979. That was the last time they had 45 assists. It's embarrassing. And They shot the ball better than you. They didn't have to even get to the line because you weren't aggressive enough in the lane, I guess, if that makes sense. OG Anunoby gets 40 points. You give up 30 to Cat, who has 15 boards to go with his 30 points, 17 assists for Jalen Brunson to go with his 23 points. Big fantasy nights for those guys. And if I'm the Nuggets, I've said it a handful of times here on this. I am looking in the mirror and questioning my toughness, my fortitude, and saying, who do we want to beat? Because 16 games into the season, and I think Michael Malone mentioned that, you shouldn't have to question effort. You shouldn't have to talk about effort. Yes, it's a long season and there are ups and downs, but the effort should be there every night, especially against a playoff team. When you're back home, it's a holiday week, all of that, but you had a tough game Friday night. You have to jump right out to LA. You beat the Lakers. You beat LeBron. You beat Anthony Davis, who's playing at an MVP level. And then you come home and lay this egg. It's humbling. And it feels like the Nuggets don't have the margin for error that they maybe have had in the past, even as good as the Joker is. And that's because we haven't seen Julian Strawther go out and have 35 points off the bench. Yeah, you got 27 from Russ. But you need those second unit guys, Peyton Watson and Strawther specifically, to bring their game to the level that Bruce Brown and Jeff Green and KCP, if we're going to swap out the players for each other, and CB being now the guy that swapped out for KCP, when you look at what CB did, it's a guy whose effort you're not normally going to question. But CB, 14 points, right around his average, only 2 assists. And only 1 rebound. If CB's playing the way you'd expect, he'll have 6-7 rebounds. He did have a steal. Jamal had a steal, but only five steals. The Nuggets, they of course lose the turnover battle, 11-9. You're going to lose in just about every metric when you lose that badly. Although they did rebound them by 1. And again, allowing 60% means your defense isn't there. You're just not doing enough as a defensive unit, as a team defense, and that's effort, it's mindset, it's toughness. And the Knicks showed that they're a tougher team. They were the embodiment of their coach, and Michael Malone, who's someone who worked with Tom Thibodeau. They worked under Jeff Van Gundy together. They understand what it means to be tough and to not roll over on your own home court, not to get beaten like that on your own home court. Yes, it happened in the playoffs at the hands of the Timberwolves. That was a weird series. But in November, right before Thanksgiving, against an East Coast team coming into town, that should not happen. So we're gonna have all the post-game comments, including what we expect to be Joker coming up here in just a little bit. So we know that Joker can sometimes take about an hour. The other night he came in much earlier on Friday, but in general, he can take about an hour. And so you just need to tune into all of our Guerrilla social channels, because we will have you covered with everything from Joker and the best stuff that he said, the best stuff that you got from Michael Malone, the best stuff from Jamal. And understandably, they're not happy with tonight's effort, nor should they be. We will continue to cover this team throughout the rest of the season, of course. And I have a feeling you will hear from me Wednesday night on Thanksgiving Eve, or Ruben or Liv or all of us. But I appreciate you rocking with us. And if you are skipping work in the next couple of days, be safe wherever you're traveling to, but make sure you're locked into all of our Guerrilla social channels on TikTok, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and on YouTube. We got you covered top to bottom for the best and most comprehensive Nuggets coverage in town. Don't go anywhere than Guerrilla Sports. Thanks to my man Jay running it for me on the 1s and 2s, and for all of you guys for tuning in. We will catch you next time here on Guerrilla Sports Off Court.